Hello and welcome to Worldview at the Hindu with me, Suhasini Haidar. This week, a surprise and sudden pause in India-Pakistan hostilities as military commanders agree to enforce the 2003 ceasefire once again. Will it hold? Are India and Pakistan willing to go further in talks? And is there already a back channel at work?
A rare phone call between the DGMOs of India and Pakistan on Monday has led to a major peace move between the two countries. India and Pakistan have issued joint statement agreeing to cease all firing along the line of control.
Now, the announcement was made after a special hotline call between the Directors General Military Operations, or DGMOs as they're known, on February the 22nd. On the face of it, the agreement seems a simple reiteration of the old agreement, the 2003 India-Pakistan agreement that was signed when Prime Minister Vajpayee and Pakistan President General Musharraf were in power. It could be a purely military decision to maintain peace at the line of control and to bring down the levels of casualties. This is particularly needed as ceasefire violations, or CFVs, as they're called, have been multiplying year on year, particularly in the last couple of years, where in 2020, after more than 5,000 violations, they reached their highest levels of perhaps the last 2 decades. But clearly, there must be much more. So let's unpack some of the questions being asked for you. First, was this move really sudden? Was it really unexpected? Now, for the past month or so, there has been some signs that there is softening on both sides, some kind of loose coordination perhaps. First, Pakistan Army Chief General Bajwa gave a speech at a military academy advocating talks with India. That seemed a little surprising, and then there was Pakistan's decision to support Prime Minister Modi's proposals for health coordination as well as health visas during a SARC workshop a few days ago. Now, remember, last year, Prime Minister Imran Khan had refused to even be part of the meeting with Prime Minister Modi when it came to a SARC virtual summit that India had convened. There's also been on the Indian side a toning down in the kind of language we've heard from the Ministry of External Affairs for Pakistan, particularly after some shrill statements were made on what Pakistan calls Kashmir Day by their leadership. Then there was India's decision to allow Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan to overfly Indian airspace on his way to Colombo. That's certainly a break from the past. Mr. Khan's statement then, while he was in Sri Lanka, that India and Pakistan have only one problem, and that is Kashmir, and that there is only one way to resolve it, and that is dialogue, that seemed to be setting the scene as well. Remember, both sides have had to climb down from positions they have held more recently. India has said no talks until terrorism ends. Pakistan has been saying there would be no talks with India until India restored the autonomous status for Jammu and Kashmir. So the fact that this kind of an agreement came through seemed to be giving you indicators of some coordinations behind the scene. Even the DGMO statement, remember, was the first joint statement by both sides in several years. So all of these taken together appear to be indicators of some kind of coordination. Even the DGMO statement, the first joint statement by both sides in years, the first time perhaps since 2003, where they've said specifically on the midnight of February 24th and 25th, all guns will cease. This could not have been issued without some kind of diplomacy or political exchanges. Now, the MEA wouldn't comment on this, and Mr. Khan's Assistant on National Security, Moeed Yusuf, flatly denied he was part of any back-channel diplomacy, although he said there had been many efforts behind the scenes to effect this outcome. But such channels are normally kept quiet. Remember, between 2000 and 2014, particularly until 2008, when the exchanges were fairly intense, India and Pakistan ran a number of channels between their envoys. From 2015 to 2017, NSA Ajit Doval was in regular touch with his Pakistani counterpart Nasir Janjwa and even met him a couple of times in Bangkok. So the next question, why now? What is behind the timing of this LOC agreement? One theory is that it has come right in the middle of India-China talks on LAC disengagement, on the line of actual control. And one theory is that peace on both fronts is something that both India and China, given its special relationship with Pakistan, would certainly hope for. But on the other hand, the counter theory to that is that this is in some way affected by the developments in the United States as well, and an effort to diffuse tensions as Mr. Biden takes charge in Washington for the United States, which welcomed the agreement. Peace between India and Pakistan on Kashmir is essential also for its plans to reduce violence and to exit Afghanistan. That's certainly something they have been speaking about, and there may be other reasons. It could also just be a purely bilateral exercise. Interestingly, it is something you, our viewers, have been writing in to us about and to asking us to talk about this. Murli Krishna in particular, who asked us, how do we normalize ties with Pakistan? I would say that the absence or reduction in violence is absolutely essential. It's the first step really towards looking at something like normalization of ties. Clearly, we have seen a real breakdown in ties. They're at their lowest ebb in so many senses. There's no political exchanges between the two sides. Trade has stopped completely between them. We don't see any kind of cultural exchanges or sporting ties between the two countries. And even on multilateral spheres like the SAARC or South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, we don't see much movement. So therefore, thinking out of the box, any kind of steps towards normalization of ties, which is if Delhi, Islamabad and Rawalpindi so desire, would involve first the resumption of visas, which are right now on a go slow, restoration of trade. Remember at the LOC, India had actually stopped cross line of control trade in Jammu and Kashmir. At the border, Wagah, between the two Punjabs, it was Pakistan who cancelled all trade after India's decision on Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. There could also be consideration of resumption of sporting ties. After all, cricket, hockey, these are areas where both countries excel. And possibly even thinking about holding the SAARC summit. Remember, the South Asian body has been unable to meet since India refused to attend the summit due to the fact that it was going to be held in Pakistan. Pakistan is the host. This is since 2016, 5 years ago. In COVID times, could Prime Minister Modi possibly attend the summit, particularly if it is held virtually? That's certainly another idea, but these are all possibilities. I do have some book recommendations for you, especially those interested in the LOC ceasefire. Professor Happy Mon Jacob, who's got 2 books already, The Line of Control. It's the only account of traveling with Indian and Pakistani soldiers on both sides of the LOC. And the other one's called Line on Fire, that really looks at causes for ceasefire violations and how they can be prevented. We hear there's a third to the trilogy out soon, which deals with back-channel diplomacy between India and Pakistan that has in past led to agreements. You could also listen in to the special podcasts and read the special columns on www.thehindu.com. There will be a podcast I'm doing with experts like Professor Happy Man Jacob and former High Commissioner to Pakistan, TCA Raghavan. So we do hope you write in, listen in, and join us again from the team here. Thanks for watching.